One way that makes it extremely easy to get your plates back together when they're separating is to wet your bone. Don't soak it, because then your plates might come completely apart. But to get them back together easily, you want to soften the bone a bit. You can, as you can see here, these squish together very easily now. Unlike the previous video with this specimen, the age determination of whitetail video, these nasal bones go back together with very little stress. You don't have to push hard on them. They just go back together. So what you want to do is get yourself some yarn and your glue. Everybody knows that this is my absolute favorite kind for working on bone. It dries clear and as hard as bone. It's not going to fall apart with that weld bond. So make yourself a noose with your yarn. Slip it around under. Now I like to use yarn because it's not abrasive. It's strong while still being soft, so it's not going to mar your bone. It's not going to leave any marks. Now what I do, as you can see, you might be able to see, this nasal bone is lower than this one. So I want to put my thumb underneath and my finger over top. So when I pull it tight, the nasal bone is going to be straight. Now you want this to be straight when you're doing this, because if not, it's going to dry crooked, and that's not a very good thing. So before we cinch it up, you want to put your glue in that seam. So I'm just going to separate it slightly. You can see it does lift very easily. If I can get my glue out. And if you put the nozzle right into the crevice, you don't make as big a mess. So now that I got my glue, I'm going to put my noose back on. Now I'm not personally going to worry about gluing the yarn onto it, because this piece is going to be painted afterwards. So now that you got good tension on here. Now before I do this, I should also put some glue on these other crevices, because I know they're also weak. See, that just lifts right up. This is the problem with animals who are so young. They're not fused. You don't have this problem with adults. See, I'm just wiping the excess and then applying that excess glue into other areas. Even just rubbing it in helps them seal better. And as I said, I'm not going to worry about this because she's going to be painted. So let's put our little noose back on. Thumb and finger. And then just cinch her up. Might have to make sure that you're adjusted good. Alright, now once she's in this position that you want her, simply bind. Just put it around like this. And this will keep this together as the glue dries. Now this glue here, it has about, I think it's an hour for it to be like glass hard, or not glass, but you know what I mean, like really hard. Okay, up to an hour to dry for non-porous items, and then it cures completely in 24 hours. So where she's a little wet, it might take her a little bit longer. So what we do is we just do another little noose knot and snug her up. And get to work putting the other seams together. Now I've already put some glue in, I've rubbed it in, but I want to squeeze the glue in too. Sometimes using a sewing needle to put that into the crevices is a good idea too. But usually I just do a lot of rubbing, like forcefully rub the glue into the seams, because some of these seams you can't pull apart to do it. Like this here, you can't pull these segments apart, but you do want to reinforce them. So you just want to force some glue in. You want to do this until those cracks are filled. And remember, take that excess glue off and rub it into the other crevices. It's less wasteful and you get a lot more out of your glue. Make sure if you see any hairs you dig those out, because once those are dried in, they're not coming out. Make sure you clean up around your lines, or you're going to have a lot of glue spill there. There are some parts of the skull which you will have to pull together to get the glue in. Now this part is already pretty much separated. You see these two plates right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fuse those together with glue. Put some glue in here and then put it right to it and squeeze. And it being so close will put that glue under pressure and put it right in where you need it. And then you just rub it to help get it in there, because you definitely want all those cracks. You can see that where it just squished out. You want all those crevices just literally infused. You also want to gently pull here so that you can get glue up into these plates as well. Okay, what I did is I made a noose again. Little noose here. This is where being ambidextrous comes in handy. You want to get these fused. And again, don't worry if your yarn is going to glue to this, because it can be cut off. This glue can be sanded. See what I did on the other side? Around. Now this can be tricky where you've got both of these fractures that have to be done. And then this downwards pressure helps hold this joint together. Then back up through. And I'm going to wrap it around here a couple more times just to make sure that that is sealed. You want to be tight, but not too tight. Now this pressure will hold these all together. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is, I have put some glue on these. I'm going to have to put a bit more. But these are going to have a pressure this way, which means I will have to go find some more yarn. Okay, trim this. I'm going to put this puzzle piece back in. First, before you glue, pour any amount of glue in, figure out where your bone goes. Its angle, everything must be perfect. Pretty sure this is how this is meant to be. It's got that little notch that corresponds to that little bone. So we'll just squeeze the glue in. Now I'm putting extra glue because, as you can see, this has to be fused. Everything in there is right loose, so we put lots of glue. Okay, I'll have to put some down here too. Starting to run out of glue. Sometimes it can be hard when your parts are broken or missing to get everything the way it goes, but I'm going to make another noose here. Now, one thing I would like to point out when you are working with deer and other animals who are grazers, you have to be very careful because it's easy to cut yourself. Their teeth are very sharp. Alright, I'm going to hold some slight pressure on this while I put some glue on this one, because this one is also loose. Just pressure it down through. It should stay. I'm going to put my loop through, down through her eye socket too. Sorry if it's a little hard to see. My hand's in the way all the time here. But we want to get her in there good. Because we don't need her coming apart on us. There we go. Got nice tension on all the parts that we need tension. Alright, just let me take a look. There's a few more pieces on the inside that need gluing, which can be awkward because of their angle. Just Callie flopping down under the table. I'm going to put some more glue in the palette bones here. It may look like I'm using a lot of glue. Well, a lot of glue is needed for this project. When you're doing reconstruction like this, I don't think you can really have too much glue. Yeah, I'm just going to go get some more yarn and I'll be right back.